Okay, so this is the Rowenta VR83 Compact Steam Pro. It's basically professional ironing tool, right? You can see it comes with this ironing storage pad with water storage. And I'm going to unbox this, review it, and also show it to you how it works. So please follow along in the video. Okay, so basically you can see it's the manual with the letter. Okay, now I'm going to remove the iron with the cable. Okay, so I've removed everything from the box. This is the empty box here, and these are all the parts. There are not many parts actually, right? So you have this main iron, if you notice here, and then you have this kind of a storage thing where you will put the water, etc. in, right? So here it is, right? And this is how it looks basically, right? And what you can do is when you are done, this is like a nice storage place as well. So they have provided a lot of things for you. These are, you also put the water, and you can put up to 1.7 liter water, which means that you can continue to work without having to refill again and again and getting blocked in any way. Okay, so let me remove all the plastic covers and then show it to you. Okay, now one thing you want to do is after you remove everything else, you want to first start to remove this thing here, and you can just pull it out. Definitely remember to do this. You don't want burning happening, right? Put in the box with you. Okay, and now the only thing remaining is removing this cable here. Okay. After unboxing, right, you can see I stored the cable here on this side, the water cable, and then on this side, what you have is, let me lock it. Okay, and on this side what you have is the storage for the electric cable, right? So you have storage for both, and what you are going to do is you are going to basically put this here, essentially, right? So you have storage for both the things, right? Now let me remove it for now, because we are going to use it. Let me tell you a little bit about the storage part, right? Notice this slot here. This slot goes inside this when you are storing it, right? And when you place it, and then you can lock it in. Now you can see you can lift it up without it ever falling. It's very, very sturdy. Also, the steam button is right here. Another thing to notice is that you cannot really separate the iron from this thing. They are connected permanently, technically. Now let's talk about the water part, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to basically place this base somewhere down here or on this ironing side. You need to be really careful, make sure your board is sturdy enough. Next, you want to remove this thing out here from this side here, and you're going to fill the water. Now notice the max indicator, right? So it should not go above this line. So if you see water here, then you know you have already crossed the limit. So make sure that water does not. If you have, you might want to remove it a little bit. But you can see you are never really removing. And unlike this kind of stuff where you have to basically keep some kind of a water filling stuff, you don't have this anymore. You just take this, so you don't have to keep this thing, and sometimes this spill, right? So no, you're no longer worried about stuff like this. Now let me fill water in this. Convenient this is. That's it. You just need to make sure you fill it and you do not overfill it. That's it. Very simple. So if you notice, after filling it's a little bit higher, right? So I'm just going to leave it out some of the water. And now notice this is below 1.7 max line, so this is good enough. And now this much water is more than enough for it will run for you quite a while, and you don't have to refill it, which basically saves you a lot of time as well. Another nice thing to note about it is the Anti-Calc feature, and what that means is, if you have ever used an iron with the steam thing, there is eventually calcification, right? And you can see white stuff coming out. So it has a feature where you can clean it, and it will start to blink anti-calc, or well, let's say when you see some kind of a white stuff coming out from the base of your iron, you want to make sure that you can use this anti-calc feature. I'm going to show that to you as well. But for now, let me just plug this thing in. Okay, just a second. I think the cable is hurting. Let me remove the cable first. Okay, so the cable and stuff, you want to make sure you remove it. It's just easy. Okay, so now everything is set up. Now you basically have a choice, right? This cable is big enough where maybe you want to put this on the floor. That's what we are going to do in our case, right? So you have complete. Okay, so we are putting this at the bottom, right? And I'm going to plug this in now. Okay, next I'm going to lift this iron here and start to use. So normally you have a cable for the iron, but now we have this kind of a cable for both electricity and the water, right? So currently it's at the minimum, but let's turn it on. And the power button here, there, press it. Notice it's blinking. So once it's ready, and I have set this temperature here, above here, to this thing, synth silk, and also it's blinking here and here as well. So once it's warm enough to heat, it will turn into green, or it will stop blinking and it will become solid blue. You have an option of keeping it like this, the way you would keep a normal iron, right? And now once it's ready, it's blue green, so now it's ready. So you can start to iron, right? Now some important other things to notice. In our case, we have cotton clothes, right? So once again, I'm moving it to cotton, so obviously it requires more heat. So now once again, it's blinking. I can leave it here like this, waiting for it to become solid, right? And another thing is the button here, right below the handle, right? If you press it once, steam will come out. If you press it to, like, you can, every time you press, the steam comes out, right? You release, the steam stops. However, if you press it 3 times completely, 3 times quickly, then the steam will continue to flow. It's continuous steam process. So you have a choice to control the steam the way you want, or you can have it continuous, right? And I don't think there's a perfect way. I think it all depends on the person who is ironing and how they want to proceed. Obviously, it's very, very hot. The steam is very hot, so you have to be always careful. But that is true for any steam iron. Okay, so now it's ready. It's ready to work in. Okay, so now you can see I'm going to start to iron, right? This is like a very, very thick pant. Now, when you press it, what is the steam, right? So, but now you cannot see the steam here because it's actually going directly into the clothes, right? So, yeah, you start to iron stuff. It's kind of heavy, which is nice, so it will do a good job by pressing it correctly, right? And once again, I can move it here. The cord does not really, impair me or block me in any way. It's big enough and it's smooth enough where I can use it easily. I like this about thing is there's a lock and something, so even my daughter, she's young, so I'm not worried about it because she will get burned in any way. Okay, so now you can see my wife is ironing this a bit, and yep, and you don't need to fill it in like for a really long time, right? Water. So once it's set up, you are good for like at least a few days, depending on how much you iron, honestly. And then after a few years or a few months, if the calc buildup happen, depending on the amount you are using, notice the steam here, and you can stop it. So simple to use, does what it says. And let me now show you the calc feature. Okay, now turn it off, right? It automatically turn off after 8 minutes. And after 30 minutes, it also turns off the steam mechanism. There's also an eco mode here. Notice I have pressed the eco mode here. So eco mode obviously saves energy and battery and all of the other fancy stuff. And to turn it off, you just need to press this button here. Right? and you don't need to worry about storing it in any way. Just make sure when you are putting it here, you want to putting it vertical. You don't store it like horizontally, just like any other iron. But out here, you don't need to worry about any such thing. Just put this thing in and lock it in place, and that's it. And then what you do is you start to put the cable in, right? And store the cable back in once you are done, right? And same you can do for the other cable as well. This is turned off, and it's not working anymore. So you can also just carry it with you wherever you want. Notice with water it becomes heavier, right? Another thing to note is the anti-calc feature. So once you are ready, if this starts to blink, what you want to do is you want to take this whole thing near some kind of a sink or something, remove the water container, replace the water, and then press the anti-calc button and put the water in. And what it will do is and let this thing run for some time. So what it means is press this on power button and press the right now anti-calc button is not blinking, but if it was blinking you will press this button, and what it will do is it will remove all the white calcification that happens on the iron, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's almost like a self-cleaning mechanism like you would have in an oven. Only thing is this is for the iron, right? So yup, the nice thing is once I set it up like this, you're no longer worried about getting hurt in any way, and you don't have to replace water and spend too much time. Very, very simple. So in my case, right, even this wire, right, I'm going to fold it and set it up here inside it, depending on where I'm going to place it permanently. And the advantage of this is that I don't ever have to move it, right? It's set up and I'm done, and I can just remove the water tank whenever I want. Very, very simple to use and easy to use. Okay, yeah, very happy with it, does what it says. Okay, thank you.